Hi, I'm Ben Rowe from Bettrends, and today I'm joined by Mike White, one of our resident tipsters, and the team have been in excellent form over the past 2 weekends, tipping 7 winners. Today we're going to be looking at Saturday's King George and going through the field and just picking out any value that we find. Obviously the race is completely been thrown open by postponed not making the race due to a bad scope. Although it's probably going to make it a poorer spectacle in a racing terms, but it makes it a better betting heat. And the market currently is headed by Dartmouth and Highland Reel not far behind him. Dartmouth's around 2-1, 9-4, Highland Reel about the 5-2 mark. Looks like a rematch for the Hardwick Stakes at Royal Ascot a few weeks ago. Mike, what's your thoughts on this?
The Hardwick, I'm not sure about the form of the race. I'm not sure how good a race it was. You can't knock Dartmouth at all. He's in great form, 3 wins this season, won 2 Group 3s and obviously the Hardwick last time. He looks an improving animal still, but on this ground and with Ryan Moore on Highland Reel, I kind of expect that form to be turned around on Saturday. I think Highland Reel, his rider dropped the whip 2 furlongs out at Royal Ascot, and I can't see Ryan Moore doing that this time. The quicker ground will bring a lot more out of him, and I expect Highland Reel to beat Dartmouth on Saturday.
Yeah, I agree with Mike. I mean, I backed Highland Reel at Royal Ascot, so I was quite annoyed, to say the least, when Shamie Heffernan dropped his whip. But it might not have made a difference. But like Mike says, Highland Reel's a good fast ground horse. He's won 2 Group 1s on a quick surface. And Dartmouth may have just had the fitness edge at Royal Ascot as well. So there's a very narrow margin, and I'm with Mike. I think Highland Reel will definitely turn the tables here. A couple of others that aren't far behind in the betting, and you've got Wings of Desire. Now, 3-year-olds have only won this race twice in the last 10 years, but both of those were trained by John Gosden, Tagruda and Nathaniel. I'm not sure this Wings of Desire is in the same class as Tagruda and Nathaniel, but you've got to respect the stable. They had a close second last year with Eagle Top. What's your thoughts on Wings of Desire?
Yeah, you've got to respect him. He gets so much weight off of his competitors here. And he's only had 4 runs, don't forget, which is less than half of pretty much all his other rivals in the field. So there could be plenty of improvement to come. He looked to enjoy the fast ground in the Dante at York, where he beat Deauville. Obviously, the form of the Dante isn't really stacking up particularly well, but he did look a good horse that day. And the stable have always said he's a little bit freakish. Yeah. So this 1.5 mile on quick ground could be right up his street, and I expect him to go well.
Yeah, I mean, the Dante's not worked out as well as previous years. I mean, I know Deauville went and won the Belmont Derby, but we've got Foundation, Muntazar and Choreographer all well beaten next time out. And in fact, Deauville was well beaten in the Derby. So it might just be that's not the strongest of Dante's in years. But like Mike says, the John Gosden yard, you've got to respect them. Time and time again, he gets these big race winners, or at least something that goes close.
Yeah, absolutely.
But whether he's at the stage where he could beat a horse like Highland Reel or Dartmouth.
Well, he's clearly not as good as Tagruda or Nathaniel, who've won this race for Gosden in the last 10 years. But he's so unexposed, you don't know how much improvement is going to come from him at this trip on quicker ground. And I think with that weight allowance, you definitely can't rule him out.
And then we go to the French Raider. We've got Erupt. Now this horse has spent most of his time recently in Group 1 company. Come up short. He's come up short every time. He hasn't won, but he was close second last time at St. Cloud. And obviously he ran really well in the Arc last year behind Golden Horn. He's entitled to get involved, isn't he?
Absolutely. I think if there's a real Group 1 horse, a European Group 1 horse in this race, Erupt could be it. His 5th in the Arc was an excellent effort. He loves this quicker ground. I mean, all of his poor runs, if you can call them poor runs, have been on a softer surface, which is odd for a French horse, but he does seem to like this quicker ground. This race has been won by Europeans 2 out of the last 4 years as well. Daydream and Novelist, 2 of the 4 winners. Hurricane Run also won it in 2006 for Andre Fabre. So I think 5-1's not a bad price for a horse that could be a real genuine Group 1 performer this season.
It's definitely an open race, and I mean, like you say, should Erupt be, at least twice the figure of Dartmouth?
No,
probably not.
Probably not on form, no. But it's just the improvement factor, isn't it, that they're factoring in there. And
Dartmouth is an improving horse, but he's never contested a Group 1. He's steadily gone through the ranks, which is what Sir Michael Stout does. very well. But like you say, you probably do want a bit of experience at that level first, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I just think Erupt is definitely, well, if you look at the level of form, that fifth in the arc is probably head and shoulders above anything else. So to be 5-1 in a race where Dartmouth's 2-1 favourite, I think that's a bit of value, even though it's not a big price.
And in the last 10 years, it's currently a three-way tie for leading trainer. We've got Sir Michael Stout with 2 winners, Aidan O'Brien with 2 winners, and John Gosden with 2 winners. So they've got most of the field here again. You've got a couple of runners other than the fancied ones for the big yards. You've got Sir Isaac Newton, which you think may have a little squeak.
Yeah, he's an interesting horse because we don't really seem to have got to the bottom of him yet. Aidan O'Brien seems to have finally found the key, and he's won 2 races in his last 2 runs: the Wolferton Stakes at the Royal Ascot and the International Stakes at the Curragh. He was very good at the Curragh, actually. He only won by less than a length, but he won very comfortably, and he won a bit cheekily, really. There's question marks over trip and ground, but his best performances are over 1.25 miles in ground with a bit of cut in it, so I think he should stay. I'm inclined to say it'll be fine. And 14-1, 16-1 in an open race where an improver could well kind of surprise everyone, could be a decent each way bet.
The 7 runners makes it tricky each way wise, and you got the suspicion Willie. I don't think he'll be a pacemaker, but it's not been beyond Ballydoyle to run a horse that as a pacemaker when you think they've got a half a chance. But
yeah, true. I mean, he's got £8-9 to find with some of the better horses in the race, but he is improving. And they've always held him in very high regard. I mean, once he was a Derby horse for them.
Yeah.
But he never made it to the Derby after disappointing at Chester. But he's always seemed like once they found the key to him, he's got plenty of ability there, and he's definitely still improving. So he's one to keep an eye on. It's
like Wings of Desire. I mean, he's trained by Aidan O'Brien, so you can't discount horses from that yard. And in an open race, I mean, there's no outstanding performance before this race. I mean, someone might go and put in a real good performance on Saturday, but at the moment, it's wide open, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Any of 4 or 5 could win this. I mean, obviously we're counting out Western Hymn and Second Step here, whose limitations have kind of been exposed at this level.
Western Hymn, they were talking about going to York, but I think with just the low amount of runners, they've just chanced their arm again, try and pick a bit more place prize money. He's probably one that prefers a bit more cut in the ground, which wouldn't be ideal, although he has run well on fast ground.
Yeah. And
then Second Step, I mean, I had big plans for this horse, Second Step, when he won at Newmarket. It was at the Jockey Club when he at Newmarket. He beat, what was the odds-on favourite that day?
I can't remember, to be honest with you. I have no idea.
That's making a fool of us there. But, yeah, Second Step, I mean, he looked really good that day. And I thought he'd go on. He went and won in Germany, but this year's it's been a big disappointment. He was disappointed at York, and then the run at Newmarket, the race he was second in last year, behind Big Orange. I mean, I think he was last.
Yeah, he was close to the back. He was about 7 lengths back in the end, and he just didn't fire at all. He's one that he might just be in a dip at the moment. He's got ability. We saw that last season, but he just doesn't look to be firing at the moment, and you can't suggest any kind of interest in him at the moment.
So from my point of view, I'm going to try and recoup my losses from Highland Reel from Royal Ascot. I think he's the only Group 1 winner in the field. He's got 2 Group 1s to his name. He likes fast ground. He's got Ryan Moore back on board, and he'd be my selection for the race. Yours, Mike?
I wouldn't put you off Highland Reel, most certainly, but Erupt is the one for me. The French import. 5-1, I think, is a decent price for a horse that could be possibly the only genuine European Group 1 performer in the race.